Recording is in progress.
Oh, cool. Well, welcome to another Truth Bristol presentation. Here, Colin Power, Abe Connock and Dave Shaler. Just giving a little message out there. So, Dave, just tell us about your... Let's start by the day today. Quite a weird one today, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's quite a weird day for me today. It's very strange as a kind of ex-rationalist atheist to find myself the last incarnation of a long line of people. But I'm actually an incarnation of the oldest consciousness in the universe. And I've come here to deliver the third and final testament of Jesus Christ.
Sounds like a pretty big day to me.
Absolutely, yes. Well, I've got the final messages today. In fact, last night. I was up all last night dealing with some very dark stuff in London. I could barely understand what was going on at the time. And of course I got up this morning, went to see Abe, and the first thing he said to me, "Seen a bomb's gone off in London." I don't know, a bomb's been stopped, a bomb hasn't gone off in London, but I thought,
Yeah, it's all over. Actually, just to give a little story, Abe, you've just...
Recording is in progress.
Oh, cool. Well, welcome to another Truth Bristol presentation. Here, Colin Power, Abe Connock and Dave Shaler. Just giving a little message out there. So, Dave, just tell us about your... Let's start by the day today. Quite a weird one today, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's quite a weird day for me today. It's very strange as a kind of ex-rationalist atheist to find myself the last incarnation of a long line of people. But I'm actually an incarnation of the oldest consciousness in the universe. And I've come here to deliver the third and final testament of Jesus Christ.
Sounds like a pretty big day to me.
Absolutely, yes. Well, I've got the final messages today. In fact, last night. I was up all last night dealing with some very dark stuff in London. I could barely understand what was going on at the time. And of course I got up this morning, went to see Abe, and the first thing he said to me, "Seen a bomb's gone off in London." I don't know, a bomb's been stopped, a bomb hasn't gone off in London, but I thought,
Yeah, it's all over. Actually, just to give a little story, Abe, you've just...
Our world. This is the lower world, of course, and the underworld, basically.
Right, yeah. So basically there's another Earth almost somewhere.
Well, I can explain the structure of the universe. The universe is changing shape. I just want to get this down, though, in terms of
sure.
the
So
direction.
3 points, let's sum it up. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the 3 points first. Yeah, the 3 points first. Sorry, I was going to go through those. Yes, that God incarnates in bodily form as a human being. Across the ages, incarnated as Moses or in the two forms, Moses and Aaron. The prophets basically have been incarnates. Mark Antony, I was an incarnate of. I was incarnated as. At the same time that the other Messiah was incarnated as Julius Caesar, and the third player in all of this, who's another ancient soul, was incarnated as Cleopatra. And we've been playing this game over the years, over the ages basically. So yes, so God incarnates here, that's the greatest secret of all time. The second greatest secret is that the universe is ascending. The universe is changing shape in 2012, in fact on December 23rd, 2012. And that's what we've got to prepare ourselves for, basically. That's what the prophecy's always been about since the beginning of the universe. And the third great secret is that the tree of life, the Ots Chim in the Kabbalah, and the 72 names of God, they are the key to to being able to change your body, your light body and so on, so you can change your vibrations and ascend. They are the most powerful spiritual tools that we have, basically. And essentially the universe is going to go from being a tree of life with 10 dimensions attached to it and 11 unconnected, to a universe of a completely different shape. In fact, to depict it requires 3 dimensions. It's going to be a cubahedron of dimensions with the central dimension of Godhead in the middle. I think that's the message I'm getting. I'm not totally clear, because we do fit into a wider universe as well. God is not the highest intelligence in the wider universe, only in this bit of the universe. There are apparently, it appears, 24 elders who are very highly ascended beings who are telepathic. And what you have to realise about the majesty of the universe is it's all interconnected. It goes down infinitely small as well as infinitely big. And somehow, because of the nature of the fact there's no space-time in certain places, you come out from the infinitely small to the infinitely big. But I don't really understand these things of the human brain, basically, but I'm getting more and more of it.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's a difficult concept to wrap our head around, but a lot of it is supported by like a lot of string theory now.
Absolutely, string theory.
Science is coming on board slowly but surely. Monoto, people like that, doing the water experiments,
Absolutely.
changing water with So yeah.
And this is the greatest thing. I could never have become a spiritual being without quantum mechanics. It was because the universe took me to Stephen Hawking before it took me to Kabbalah directly before. And when I read about the single quantum light exploding and the single atom exploding, the fact there were 10, possibly 11 dimensions in quantum mechanics, the same as I was saying in Kabbalah. The universe in Kabbalah is 1% light, 99% dark. In science, it's 1% observable, 99% dark matter. You're talking about the same concept of different vocabulary. It was that, ironically, that made me, not obviously made me a person of faith, but made me able to make that leap to faith, that the knowledge there. Faith must be based on knowledge. Anybody who tells you such thing as blind faith, forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, faith with knowledge, that's another good point. Another good point. One thing I was going to say, maybe could you talk a little bit about Kabbalah, maybe, like, you know, some of the stuff that you've sort of experienced through some of the sort of workings of the teachings, what it's about, because there's a lot of misconceptions about Kabbalah.
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, the problem with what's going on at the moment, of course, is the Brotherhood of the Snake, or the Zionists, or whatever you want to call them, and these really are demons, the first demon created, basically, who possess bodies here, basically. They don't come in on soul contracts. When the higher beings come in, it's a given idea that the soul that's in there will give up to the higher being, understanding the nature of the mission. But the demons don't come in like that. They squat on the bodies, and they have this battle with the souls in there and try and take over the ego of the body they've taken over, basically. Now these people look like they controlled society. I mean, given straight the world at the moment, you might think evil's in charge, but I assure you it's not. But certainly the Kabbalah, therefore, was pointed out that this was from secret societies, and certain people of certain mindset think that all secret societies are per se evil. Now, of course, secrecy is wrong. Secrecy is entirely wrong. Interestingly, apparently in the beginning, this was not a secret. It was only made a secret by Solomon because it was under attack, basically. But that's what led to all these secret societies and the retelling of the myth through things like Hiram Abiff in Freemasonry and so on. But Kabbalah, there is nothing in Kabbalah when you read it that is an excuse for any form of violence or wrong speech or wrong anything, basically. Kabbalah is a very pure system. It says that it gives you, certain powers, but obviously you have free will. There are tools you use with your own free will. And for every hammer you have that somebody's using to bang a nail in, somebody else can go and bang somebody's head in with it. That's not a reason to say that hammers are evil. The people who use the hammers are evil. So Kabbalah is a very pure system. It's a very powerful system. This is why they've tried to suppress it. And I've realised so much about the questions about the Hebrews or the Jews being God's chosen people. They're not God's chosen people. God doesn't choose people. Of course He doesn't. They were chosen to be the line of the incarnate, the bloodline, basically. So I'm actually a reincarnation of King David, but I'm also a descendant of him. I'm of the bloodline of Zion, but I'm also the bloodline of the Celts as well. And it does appear, I'm not certain on this, but it seems that the Celts were the original ones who knew about the Kabbalah, and somehow sort of take over the Zionists, a demon takeover, the aliens or whoever it was who came at the time. That was how this knowledge was taken off them.
Right, okay. So this is quite interesting, because one thing's for sure, right, for people who are a bit new to all this stuff, right, the leaders of the world, they do have this sort of tendency to do these sort of rituals, don't they? And they're a bit weird, and there's a lot of speculation as to what that is all about. I mean, could you shed a bit of light on that as well? Sort of?
Yeah, I mean, obviously part of Kabbalah is rituals. It is doing things that ostensibly look a bit like black magic. I mean, you're drawing pentagrams, you're calling on the tetragrammaton, Yod-Hey, Vav-Hey, and all this sort of thing. But what you've got to understand, again, these shapes are not evil. They're actually just purely an energy. And they have a different form of energy in other dimensions. So by drawing them here, we can't know how we affect the dimensions above us, but we do. And so if we stay pure with it, they give extra energy to our thoughts. And those rituals are actually about calling on the good and banishing evil. I mean, obviously you can do the reverse, but you've got to expect that if you use a ritual for evil, that the evil will rebound on you. If you use it for love, you get abundant love coming back to you.
So yeah, so that might. Is that something like you're saying, there's like, it looks like evil's in control, but maybe it's not?
Well, this is what I'm thinking, is that I got clues about this, because obviously look at the state of the world and the way I've tried to do things in the past, I've realised that it's been very difficult. And I admit there were times on my path when I was tempted to the route of violence, because you get into the argument where you think if I could kill one person, I could save the lives of hundreds of thousands. But that is not a good argument. Once you've killed one person, you are guilty of murder, and there's no excuse that somehow the universe is going to balance this out. It doesn't, basically. You do not kill anybody, you do not strike anybody, basically. That is the rule. And I have to say it's absolutely right now. If there's anybody out there who thinks they're going to do anything because of me, violent or anything else, there is no excuse. You are not following my teachings if you are violent, basically. Let's get absolutely clear to start with, basically. So what you can do